Hi all. It's my pleasure tonight to get to introduce to you a woman who I met as a client in my law firm and has subsequently become a good friend, Jackie Gardner. This is the Citizen of the Year Award, and Jackie is from Missouri, from Joplin, Missouri. She graduated high school there and went to college for journalism and ultimately ended up working in hospital finance and administration. And she moved to Livingston, Montana in about 2001 with her husband Gary, and took a job there working at the Livingston Hospital, Livingston Memorial, or it's Livingston Health now, and worked doing auditing work, looking to see that insurance payments coincided with the billing codes and some things that folks in this audience are familiar with. And she worked eventually helping negotiate preferred provider agreements and things of that nature. Was familiar with hospital billing and these sorts of things. And in 2016, she was unfortunate to have a pretty significant car accident where she got pinned between a loading dock and a bumper on a vehicle and got her femurs crushed by a vehicle. And she had medical bills from that, and she had those bills through her providers submitted to Pacific Source Health Insurance, which some of us probably in this audience have. And she received a letter back from Pacific Source that said, hey, we don't cover medical bills that stem from car accidents where there is auto insurance. And Jackie, being quite astute about these insurance issues, came and sat down with us in our office, and she said, hey, I don't think they can do this, can they? And I said, no, Jackie, it's been illegal for 10 years for a health insurance company to tell you they will not pay your medical bills because there's auto insurance. And she said, well, what do I do about it? And we said, well, we can probably just go to them and we'll get your bills paid like this as soon as we point out that they're breaking the law. Or we can file a case. And we said, you know, Jackie, if they're doing this to you, they're certainly doing it to other people. She came in with her EOB, her explanation of benefits, that said, we don't cover this. And then some other papers that this company had sent her saying, you know, it's like a trifold that says, well, it's just common sense that if you're in an automobile accident, your health insurance shouldn't pay anything, right? Automobile should pay that. And we said, Jackie, you know, they're sending this stuff to other people too, and really what should happen here is we ought to file a case that has a class allegation in it so that we can help some other folks. And she had the easy opportunity to say, no, I think I'll just have this taken care of for myself and bow out of this. But she didn't. She said, no, let's go ahead and try to protect the other people that are dealing with these same kinds of issues. And so we filed a class case. We filed a motion for class certification with the class case, with the complaint, because companies are so aggressive now about trying to moot your plaintiffs by paying their claims immediately and keeping them from having stand-in to represent other folks. And they tried to do that with Jackie, and Jackie said, no, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm going to try to represent the other people that have had these problems. And we litigated for a fair bit, and at one point we finally got a class certification hearing where we could go and argue that Jackie Gardner ought to be able to stand in place of all of the folks that had these similar issues. And we learned that there were thousands of them just in Montana. And so we went to this class certification hearing, very capable defense counsel, and we debated whether to have Jackie come to the hearing or not, because it's always kind of a concern with a high stakes hearing like that, whether you want a plaintiff in the room, because most of the folks here that are practitioners know, every once in a while a crafty defense lawyer says, well, I think I see the plaintiff in the room, I think I'm going to call her to the stand, you know, and try to do some fireworks. So we went to this hearing, and sure enough, defense counsel saw Jackie Gardner sitting at counsel table with us and said, okay, I'm going to do some grandstanding here. And he said, I'm going to call Jackie Gardner and put her on the stand right here and right now, and I'm going to try to make some points in this very important hearing on certification. And so he called Jackie and put her on the stand and asked her this series of questions. Went through the insurance policy with her and says, ma'am, it's true, isn't it, that it says right here, if you have any disagreement about our decision on your policy, you can contact customer service, you can call the third-party liability unit. It says, ma'am, right here, it says you actually have an obligation to call it's your responsibility to call the third-party liability unit if you have an issue. Isn't that true? And went through this whole litany with her, and then got to the end of this exam, and this was going to be the big fireworks, and he said, so, you've admitted that it's your responsibility to call customer service if you have a problem. You filed this case, you filed your motion for class certification right at the same time. You filed the case soon after we illegally told you that we wouldn't pay your bills. And ma'am, why are you doing this? And it's kind of one of those moments, John Romano was talking today about kind of the gasp moment a little bit sometimes, and everybody's kind of like, whoa. And she sat there, and this is the first time the judge has ever heard from this woman, and she looked back across at experienced veteran defense counsel, and she said, you know what? I've been sitting across desks for the last 30 years from families that were being torn apart and declaring medical bankruptcy because companies like yours would not do what they were supposed to. And that's why I'm here. And you could have heard a pin drop in that courtroom. And you could see on the judge's face that she understood immediately that this was a person who was going to stand up for all the others that were treated the way that she was. We've subsequently learned there's about 77,000 people in that class. And so that is why Jackie Gardner is getting the Citizen of the Year award, because like us, she wants to stand up for people, but we can't do it without people like Jackie Gardner. She's really the people that make this work possible. So thank you very much, Jackie.
This is an amazing honor. As Jory said, 35 years working in healthcare. You see all aspects of it from my point of view. The employees that are calling the insurance companies, the patients that are coming in questioning what's a code, from the ground up. Through all these years, these people sat across my desk and had the same question asked of me all through the years. And that, excuse me, it scared me. And that question was, what would you do? And when you're employed by a facility or a physician, you have to look at yourself and say, what would you do? And what's your role? And you show those people how they can pay their bill because you're defenseless. This time when it happened to me, I was in a position where I could do something. And I thank Jory for being there and showing me the road to do something for these people. This is about them. There are so many people. The insurance terminology, medical terminology, the average person cannot understand it. They need help. That's the question I've been asked, and this is the answer. This is what we do. As a child, I went to work with my mom. She retired after 50 years as a legal secretary. I don't know if that's a proper term anymore, but I got to go to the legal secretary associations and babysit for the lawyers' kids while they were in court, That's what I grew up doing. And all through those years, I had another question that was always asked. And that was, what do you say to a room full of attorneys? And I say, thank you. Thank you very much.